Please, go ahead, Don. I'd be willing to close the debate.
Okay. Councilor Ely.
Thank you. I appreciate the intent of the motion. I just, and I could support that once the project was complete. I don't anticipate that anyone's going to spend the contingency fund on things that doesn't need to be taken care of. I would love to see an extra $1 million in the hospital levy fund, just as much as anyone else, but I just can't support that motion tonight, perhaps down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Worship.
On the point of order, I won't get into the debate. First of all, I question whether the motion is in order at this point in time. We do have an item on our agenda which allows for councillors to give notice of motions for decisions, and it would be my sense that the appropriate course of action for this particular motion would be for it to be provided as a notice of motion and dealt with as an agenda item, rather than something that comes forward without any notice to councillors in advance.
Can I respond in point of order?
Okay, Councilor Swanson.
Thank you. I would like to respond to that point of order. First of all, repeat that this states here, this will be the final regular monthly update for City Council. This will be the last opportunity for Council to discuss this matter as a report coming forward. We don't know what's left to be purchased. That's right. There's a few of us on Council we'll never get to know, maybe, unless we make an inquiry, and who knows how long that will take to answer. Do I stand here and think for a moment it takes 6 weeks to answer the question I asked a month ago? How long will it take to answer other more vital questions? But point of order, we have a report that is the last report with respect to the Mosaic Place and Fieldhouse facility. There is a remaining funds in the contingency, and I think the mayor should be perfectly aware from his legislative experience. When you're dealing with the final report on a project and there's money left in the contingency fund, it's fair game to make a motion as to how those funds should be allocated. And I might point out, at least the citizens of Moose Jaw will know how they're allocated. If this motion should fail, this $1 million will get spent on what, by whom, and again, I repeat, whose decision is it that a batting cage becomes the #1 priority for the citizens of Moose Jaw's funds when we have such huge new bills coming in?
Thank you, Councillor Swanson. I note that the agenda item is Mosaic Place and Fieldhouse Facility monthly update. I will rule that this goes to notice of motion. It doesn't preclude, it's not contingent, if you pardon the pun, on this particular report. It's an item that can stand alone on itself, and the fact that this is the final monthly update doesn't preclude it being raised as a separate motion. So I'll rule that this is out of order and should go to notice of motion later on.
If I might, Councilor Coleman, if I might, we're in Committee of the Whole. Anybody can bring forward a motion in Committee of the Whole. Anyone can bring forward a motion in Committee of the Whole. I would like some clarification on that from Mr. Golkatiachko, but that is my understanding. When you're in Committee of the Whole, anybody can make any kind of motion you want. Okay. If it relates to the report, we can make a motion. It's not out of order. That's my understanding. Just because you don't want to discuss it tonight doesn't mean that we just throw it away. It's in order. You don't have to, these are recommendations that are on these reports. Anybody can change these motions to whatever you want or introduce a new one. It's in the other reports when we're not in Committee of the Whole that it's procedurally the motions are in place and have been passed by prior committees.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Luning. I'll ask the City Clerk for his opinion, please.
Thank you, Chair. I believe it would be the normal course that both Council and the public should be provided notice of significant decisions that are to be made in a Council setting. So it would be my view that certainly expenditures or redirection of funds in the rank of $1 million would be something that should properly be brought forward in the form of a notice of motion with some ability to provide background information for council's consideration, and certainly would be open to council to make whatever ultimate decision they chose to make on that subject. I would agree with the chair of Committee of the Whole that there is no finality to the reporting decision that's being made tonight. It doesn't close debate, and it doesn't presume that there are no further decisions to be made, so certainly they'll be open to council to bring forward further discussion, and I would, it would be my professional opinion that this would be more properly put forward as a notice of motion at the end of today's meeting to be considered by council at the next regular meeting.
Thank you, City Clerk. And then my previous comments and ruling is that it's out of order in the current context, and it should be raised as a notice of motion stands. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the